Now, let's leave the conference hall for a moment and join Diana Medill.
And we're here in the Floral Hall. We're listening to reaction of Robin Cook's speech from a number of eurosceptics, or people who are not that happy with the way things have been going. We've got Jeremy Corbyn MP, Roger Berry MP, and we're also joined by Peter Shore, who you saw leaving the hall a short while ago. So, Jeremy Corbyn, what's your problem with the way that Robin Cook, Robin Cook is handling Europe?
My concern is that we need to be very robust against the conditions for the single currency. A single currency would lead to enormous cuts in public expenditure in Britain and a very rapid rise in unemployment. Now, he appeared to make some tilt in that direction. The other one is a concern about democracy in Europe. We have a European bureaucracy totally unaccountable to anybody. Powers have gone from national parliaments, they haven't gone to the European Parliament, they've gone to the Commission and to some extent to the Council of Ministers. These are quite serious matters.
People argue against there being a drop in public expenditure by saying that there will be economic growth to compensate.
Well, I've heard that argument before, but the reality is we have more poor in Europe per head than almost any other country. The number of people in real poverty is increasing, and the kind of cuts in public expenditure envisaged by the Maastricht criteria would lead to a massive increase in poverty and unemployment in Britain. You cannot wait for growth. You have to deal with the issue of poverty now.
Roger Berry, do you feel in a minority within the Labour Party on Europe?
Not at all. I support what Robin said this morning. I think he made it perfectly clear that, firstly, jobs was going to be the bottom line in examining the single currency issue. And of course, the debate about a single currency is not a technical matter. It's about the impact on real things like jobs. And I'm unconvinced by the case of a single currency precisely because the current approach to monetary union would require massive cuts in public spending and job losses. So I welcome Robin's commitment to jobs. And secondly, Robin made it perfectly clear that Labour is opposed to the Maastricht road to a single currency, as it's described, the current conditions, because they do mean more deflation and more unemployment in Europe. And therefore, I welcome what Robin said this morning.
Peter Shore, you wanted to speak, you weren't allowed to,
yes,
is that right?
I'm very, very angry about that. Quite frankly, it was a farce to have a debate so-called in which two speakers were called from the floor, both of whom had no criticisms to make, and then to have someone replying from the NEC to the debate that didn't take place. Ludicrous. No, I have some quite strong things to say about the single currency and the great threat that it poses not only for economic growth and employment in Britain, but throughout Europe. I mean, Europe is going through a tremendous deflation right now, with millions of pounds being slashed off public expenditure in Italy, in Spain, in France, in Germany, with growing unemployment, with Western Europe as it is, an area of very high unemployment in the world. And we must avoid that at all costs. And there is no possibility of the success for a Labour government and all the things it wants to do if we are sucked in to the single currency and lose the power to operate effectively with our own economy.
But the point is, your views are embarrassing to the Labour leadership at the moment, aren't they?
Well, I don't think they're at the moment widely accepted, but it really is a bit of crass conference mismanagement to deny a voice as, frankly, as long heard and as broadly accepted as it is in a very large part of the Labour Party as my own.
But do you feel that you're out of step with the party on this?
Well, not necessarily. I have been in the past, the spokesman for the party on European affairs. I have known the party at times when it wanted to come out of Europe altogether. That isn't the case now. They want to stay in, and I understand that. But this problem of unemployment and the single currency is one that is felt throughout the Labour movement. And it's one that ought to be fully explored and expressed, and in my view lead to an unequivocal commitment that the Labour government will not join a single currency. And I'm opposed not just to joining a single currency now. I'm opposed to it on economic grounds and on grounds of effective democracy. I'm opposed to it in principle, that a single currency is in fact to abandon self-government and democracy in a country.
Well, do you see this as New Labour stage managing a conference just to suit themselves, to try and get the voters?
New or old Labour, they do tend from time to time to stage manage conferences. But I think it's a great mistake not to have made it certain that there should be a serious debate about the most serious issue that's going to face, and within months of the general election, the Labour government.
Would a referendum help you in any way, do you think, in your argument?
Well, in the end, of course, we must have the referendum if we are so foolish as to recommend that we should join a single currency. there must be some element of consent from the British people as a whole.
Peter Shaw, thank you very much indeed. Thanks to Roger Berry and Jeremy Corbyn. And more to you, John.